Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting for the city of San Juan at 6 p.m. May we rise for invocation. Mr. Arjona, can you lead us, please, sir?
Please bow our heads. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we gather together. We pray for your guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you will clearly show us how to conduct our work with the spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us a desire to find ways to excel in our work, that your truth light up our reactions and decisions. As always, we ask all this in the glorious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. I know we have public commentary. One. Go ahead, sir.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening, staff, community. Tonight, we have several presentations, but before we start with the presentation, Mayor, if I may, I'd like to maybe calling Chief Tirso to the podium.
Sure.
As you know, we just purchased that beautiful truck, and Mr. Tirso would like to, Mr. Chief Garza would like to come over and say a few words, and also present the staff that you're.
Mayor, Commissioners, we all, on behalf of the staff, my staff, and including myself, want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity, the purchase of this top-of-the-line vehicle to provide the fire protection to the citizens of San Juan. Along with that said, I want to introduce, I know that everybody played a part in that major fire we had a couple of days ago, but the main crew that I'm going to introduce right now were the ones that actually got on the scene first and were some of the last ones that left. So if I may, I'll go ahead and introduce them to you. So, real quick, Fire Inspector JJ Salinas, Acting Driver Anthony Garza, Firefighter Ricardo Torres, Driver Engineer Zuri Beas, Mario de la Cruz, volunteer, paid currently, Driver Jonathan Lopez, Firefighter Damian Rodriguez. Anybody else? And Firefighter Adam Foster. These gentlemen were a big asset, a big help to this operation, this incident that we had. Like I said, everybody played their part. They weren't out there at the scene, they were either washing hoses. But I do have plans to have a ceremony later on, probably in the first week of May. We'll be pinning some promotions that we've done, some fire personnel, so then everybody will get invited. But first and last, I want to thank you all for giving us that new piece of equipment. It'll be well taken care of and utilized to the best of our ability. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Good job, guys. Thank you, gentlemen.
Going on to the Mayor, Commissioners, tonight we have a presentation with Mr. Ramon Navarro, presentation with Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority, known as the RMA, regarding the notice of construction of the 365 tollway project. Mr. Navarro. South.
Good evening. My name is Ramon Navarro, and I'm the Chief Construction Engineer for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority. We are a state political board assigned by the governor, and we're overseen by a board of directors. Mr. Yanda is our current chairman, and you see a representative from each of the county precincts, along with the largest metropolitan area, the city of McAllen, and a representative of the county judges up on our board. And you see our administrative staff, our executive directors, Mr. Pilar Rodriguez, and I will be the responsible person in charge and serve as your contact for the next 42 months on this project that we have. Next. The RMA has been tasked with building the Hidalgo County loop around Hidalgo County. We know we have multitudes of heavy traffic, commercial traffic coming into our local roads and causing devastation to a lot of the pavement sections and some of the interlocal roadways. We're looking at getting people in and through and out the county expediently. And our first corridor is going to be the south loop section, which is highlighted in yellow. This will make a international connection to all of the ports, the majority of the ports of entry. Next. Focusing in on this project will 12.2 miles connect the Anzalduas port of entry to the FAR International Bridge. And along with that, we have our east leg, which is called the International Bridge Trade Corridor, IBTC, that will be directly impacting the city of San Juan, and that's going through an environmental process right now, and we will be more than happy to come to you with more information on that as it develops. Next slide. So the RMA is currently let the 12.2 miles to, next slide, to Pulichi Construction. They are the same outfit that is building the interchange here. We hope to have a more expedient result than what their process is on the interchange. We are on a calendar day project, which means we work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, rain, snow, sleet, hails, we're there, okay? Or the contractor has the capability of being there and us to inspect. This is a major project. It was led at $295 million. It's a 42-month project, which is approximately 3.5 years. So we're looking at having substantial completion by November 21st of 2025. And basically, we have a lot of additional details. All of this information is readily available on our website. As far as impacts to San Juan, next couple of slides down. Next. We're going to go next. You'll see some, we'll be renovating all of this section along the floodway. We'll be running parallel to the floodway until we get to 281. The segment then kicks down south and goes parallel to I Road, okay? You see we pull off I Road. Apparently I Road and Thomas is our intersection that we directly impact. And from there on, it's a greenfield project that goes all the way through to what the newly constructed section at San Juan, where we built a new overpass, the San Juan Road overpass there on Military 281. Next slide. This is the, we'll be building an overpass over the Thomas I Road intersection. Next slide. Constructing a roundabout, and the overpass is over there, over the roundabout and I Road. Next slide. We've got Dicker Road, that'll be a completely new intersection. It's approximately half a mile east of the existing location. Next slide. This will be a full-blown intersection with full development. Of course, no direct access. This will be a controlled access facility, the 365, but there will be frontage roads for development. Next slide. Layout of the intersection itself. Next slide. Next slide. And those are the east and west points that tie into to Dicker Road. Next slide. We will be making improvements to Anaya and Highline Road. Next slide. Providing build-outs with overpasses and future turnaround lanes and expansions as needed at these two intersections. Next slide, which is also Highline. Next slide. We plan on doing this, as we mentioned, this is a greenfield project. It should be minimal impacts to the traffic. A lot of people that use currently San Juan Road are farmers and tractors, and you'll see minimal impact to that. We will close down that section and build all of that segment in one piece, and we will detour and coordinate with the city appropriately. Next slide. This is a concrete roadway, and it will be built for overweight corridor. It will be an overweight corridor. Next slide. Next slide. We have commissioned the quality assurance program of TxDOT. Next slide. And we've got all of the CMT contractors that basically the primary just of the majority of the testing labs in the county to assist us in assuring that the quality and the quality control, quality assurance is implemented on the project. Next slide. We are also relocating utilities. These are compensable utilities. The city of San Juan is not impacted in any manner. And we look forward to partnering with you, as we mentioned, on the future IBTC project. That will not be a toll project, however, and the utilities are not compensable on that project. Next slide. As I mentioned, 365 toll, Pulichi is the contractor. I will be, the RMA will be the owner, operator, and overseeing that, and I will be your contact, Ramon Navarro. And you can go to www.hcrma.net for any additional information. If I can entertain any questions or concerns at this time, I'm happy to do so.
So, based on what you just presented, there's going to be some serious development in that area, am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're foreseeing a lot of major industrial, commercial links coming into the area. They were waiting for us to pull the trigger, and we did that, and they're flooding the permit process right now. Yes, sir. It's going to be yes, sir. It'll be a bonus and a tax asset to all of us.
We've been eyeing some of these locations down south for a while already, so
We've been
that's
at
good
this
that
for-
you guys were waiting for y'all to pull the trigger and make sure. Now it's concrete.
Yes, sir. We've been at this for 7 years, unfortunately, and it's happening. It's coming to fruition.
Wow, great.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Mr. Navarro, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
sir.
Next item, Mayor Commissioners, is the presentation to recognize Ruben Izaguirre Middle School and Carmel Elementary for outstanding participation in San Juan Parks and Recreation youth programs. Mr. Patrick Willingham.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission.
Good evening, sir.
Tonight, we're here to recognize a couple of schools here in the city of San Juan. As you know, this year, we pretty much opened up fully again after a couple of years off, or a year and a half off pandemic. So our recreation supervisor, Mr. Ramiro Moreno, came up with an idea to have a traveling trophy that goes around to recognize the schools that participate in our programs the most each year. And it's kind of a pride thing to have, but also for us to show a little appreciation back to them for bringing out their kids and participating with us throughout the year. So with that said, in the elementary division, with a 36.39 percentage of their population participating in our programs, the school that this will be displayed at for 1 year will be Carmen Elementary. And I believe Carmen is here. Their principal is Miss Gisela Salinas Ramirez and Coach Gao. And in our middle school division, our champion with 11.83%, and I know it's a little bit low, but you remember the middle schools, it's mainly sixth graders that participate. It's not the whole school throughout the year. So it is Raul Izaguirre Middle School. Representing RYMS is Jose Montelongo, Justin Villanueva, and Deborah Martinez. Also, I'd like to recognize two people that we work with hand in hand throughout the year. Coach Vives and Coach Vela. They're here. Can you please come forward? They're a great support from the PSJ ISD. They work with us hand in hand to get our kids participating throughout the year. And we've had real good participation opening up all the programs this year. From the beginning with football and volleyball all the way up to now with baseball and softball currently ongoing, and getting ready for a busy summer with swim, track, and tennis, getting ready for the Games of Texas, which will take place again this year in Corpus Christi. So I just wanted to recognize staff, the schools, and our support from PSJ, because it takes, as y'all well know, it takes a big team effort to get quality programs and everybody's doing a great job doing it. So I'd like to recognize everybody at this time. No, just the schools.
The same size. Pat, you get in?
Up two. 1, 2, 3.
Hold on. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good job, Doug.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Next item, Mayor Commissioners, we have an updated from a construction update on the new City Hall Transit Terminal. And then after that one, we have the presentation on the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, FF&E. But I'd like to bring Mr. Oscar Cancino to the podium so that he can maybe update us a little bit on the status on the new construction side. As you've seen, there's a lot of movement at the site. We're very happy that here shortly they're going to start pouring the slab. So Mr. Cancino and Mr. Enriquez, I don't know if both of you are going to say a few words or update us. Do you guys want to show the video first, the one that the little clip before starting? Yeah. Sure. It's about a 1-minute video.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commission, and city staff. Today, what I'd like to do is just go over briefly an updated status on the project, and I'll take it up to where we are currently, and then I'll hand it over to Mr. Gilbert Enriquez with the contractor, and then, of course, moving on with the presentation by the architect. Starting off with an update status for the project, of course, the notice to proceed that allowed the contractor to begin construction work was issued on Monday, November 29, 2021, and the award amount of $8.77 million approximately. Of course, the contractor mobilized and initiated construction work. Scheduling so far, as far as with those regards, through the contract, we're estimating on the days of 365 calendar days. Currently, we're 135 days into the project. And with that, there was or is a current an adjustment in time, but that's due to the utilities, which I'll get into in a little bit further in the status. As of date, we've submittals by the contractor are approximately at 83, either reviewed or approved. And these submittals, what they represent is, of course, materials, other construction-related items that have to go through the design team before they can actually be then either installed or worked on the project. So that's pretty significant to date, and quite a bit of coordination between the contractor and the design and architect team. RFIs, we're at 10 approximately. There's a request for information, either clarify or verify items that are related to the construction project and activities. As far as delays, we've had some utility, of course, rain not as a recent, but in the past months. The utility days were discovered at the time of the actual preparation of the site. Of course, this being an older town site, there's a few things that are unknown until you really just get to start digging and start constructing. So we've been working diligently with the utility owners. Most have been adjusted. We're just waiting on a few to be finalized that will be coordinated with the upcoming construction activities that Mr. Enriquez will provide as an update. On construction, we've completed off-site sanitary sewer improvements. That included the rehab of an old clay pipe that is going to drain the sanitary sewer from City Hall and Transit Terminal. So that's been completed. And then there was some other areas that were tied in just off of Business 83 to that new improvement. So that helps improve all the new proposed project site for sanitary sewer preparation as the project moves forward. Storm sewer has been installed on and within the site along with the inlets. Of course, that'll remain to be tied into the existing storm sewer system for the project. There's been quite a bit of work, as you saw on the flyover with the drone and the footage. There's a lot of stuff you don't see that's been put into and under the ground, and the contractor will review some of that. But some of those items, of course, has been the conduit for fiber optics. We're looking at the plumbing, we're looking at the electrical. So all that goes before we actually start, and then start working towards the main component, which is the foundation. After that goes in, which we expect here to be done here within the near future, part of that has been completed, which is the elevator pit. Of course, that's sunken in, that's lower than your standard finished floor. So that goes in first, and then they work around that. So the next big item on construction activity will be, of course, the completion of that slab. You'll start seeing more of the items going vertical. So for a while, passerbys may have gone through, looking over the fence, or noticed, well, there's not really much movement. Again, a lot of that infrastructure is what you don't see, which will be below ground or what has been adjusted in place as far as utilities. Next steps, administratively, we do have planned for a field visit with the funding entity and the local government, which is Valley Metro, their new project coordinator that's been assigned to the project. There's been a slight change there with our contact. Lopez will be attending that meeting, and that will be at the project site on Monday, day after Easter. So we'll be there on site to go over and review as we are today, but more importantly, to cover more of the administrative component of it, which is the reimbursements, the compliance, and those type of items with Valley Metro and FTA, the Federal Transit Administration. Again, that's in part of the matching funds for the project. So at this time, what I'd like to do is, if you don't have any questions for, yes. On completion of project, there is a change order for the delays that added about 29 days to the project. So from that November timeframe that would put us in 2022, it's basically a month later into December. Yes, and that was in part for utilities that were discovered on site. Again, some adjustments were made to the sanitary sewer, the offsite. We discovered a manhole within the actual pad site, so that kind of held back the contractor from working within that area. The city had issued a work order to complete the offsite work, so we amended that and added that work for the contractor to complete that. And that manhole is just really, it was underneath some old improvements, pavement and whatnot. Is more of a brick and mortar type. So we backfilled it with flowable fill, and the contractor was able to resume. And again, just as a reminder, There was an old easement there, or right of way, basically an alleyway. But again, through time and through various buildings and improvements that were done, that kind of went away over time, and then there was overgrowth and new slab or new pavement on there. So it kind of hid a lot of what was under there. And again, it's not until they came in, began to rework the subgrade, discovered some of these utilities that were being coordinated and adjusted. So the vast majority have been addressed. Now it's just a matter of working in and around as the contractor does more of the site work as well, not just the building aspect, but as they work more around the proposed facility, we'll adjust and adapt to that to be able to make sure all the utilities are properly located and can also continue with their service and also the service to the new building.
So far, it's just about a month.
Yes.
Mr. Cancino, so as far as the line of communications with the contractor and our CM and yourself and architect, everyone involved, you guys are still meeting, am I correct?
Yes, we're still meeting. There are quite a bit of on-site meetings that occur apart from the scheduled meetings or look-aheads that we have. Again, in coordinating utilities, it's been a little bit drawn out simply because of the pandemic. Utility employees or representatives are working away from, a lot of them are engineers that are not are working remotely. So what we do is to help accelerate or assist them with that review and what the adjustment is, because we can identify the utility or the conflict, but then they would have to come back with a plan of what we call a utility accommodation or relocation plan and overlay that with what's being improved. So we make sure that where they're going to adjust isn't conflicting with something else. So that those steps take quite a bit of coordination back and forth. And that's done out in the field with several follow-ups and meetings. And all that's being coordinated. So early on, before the new year, we met as a group, as a team, had identified the utilities, and we then began distributing the task to see who could help in what areas or where it was affected, in that severity. So everyone took a lead in different aspects. For example, the contractor, once they came onto the site, they would walk them through, document that would be shared with the design team and the project management team. So it's a lot of back and forth, but it is very involved when it comes to utility coordination.
All right. Any other questions?
Mayor, Council,
Good evening, sir.
Ken. I'm here to answer everything. Our scope of work that we're in currently is the foundation and the site work. So all the underground plumbing, all the underground electrical has been completed. So now we're doing the footings, the excavations for the footings, the beams, the piers, and we're putting the stego wrap and the rebar on top. So we anticipate that we will be pouring that whole entire first floor slab by the end of next week, if weather permits. So everything should be, we'll have that first floor foundation poured by the end of next week. We have to wait 7 days for it to cure before we can start elevating the structure. We do have all the structural steel here, so it's just a matter of the time to let it cure. Then you'll start seeing steel being erected. And then in the meantime, we're doing all the site work, which entails all the utilities, the water, the sewer, and the subgrade for the parking lots. So we're doing that work as we're doing the foundation. So that's ongoing, and you'll be seeing more cut of the parking lot areas. You'll see more inlets installed. Anytime you guys, I would say maybe next month or June, if you want to have a walkthrough of the facility, just so you can see the progress and see everything that's going on. We would be more than happy to accommodate and welcome you into our job site. We are on schedule, particularly with those 29 days. And then we do have some weather days that we have been accumulating. We've been notifying the architect and Mr. Cancillo of those days so they can be documented and they can be researched and and made sure that they're viable days for us to be asking for. And so we're going to keep an accumulation of those days, and then at the end, we'll add those days if need be back into the contract, just FYI. So any questions from anyone? We do have meetings twice a month, so answers have been, any of our questions that we have, answers that we needed. Mr. Anjona has been the city manager has been very good about providing that information along with his staff. The design team has been more than accommodating. They've been answering RFIs and providing us the submittals. I think Mr. Cancino mentioned about 80% of the submittals have been reviewed and received. So that helps us ordering materials and getting those materials here on time, so they won't delay our schedule. So we've been working very well together. Mr. Cancino has been a good addition as well. So I think it's a good team that we have.
So the communication's there back and forth.
Yes, and if it's
Great.
not, one of us makes sure that
Good.
everyone
Yeah.
gets in line.
Yeah.
We all have to be in one line,
Yeah.
one unison, right,
Right.
in order for it to work.
Now, as far as any road closures here in the near future, do you?
We probably won't have those road closures until the third quarter, once we start doing the street in front, because it's
Correct, yeah.
we're gonna widen it a little bit. So that probably won't happen until the third quarter of the year. So
Okay.
maybe September, or around there,
Okay.
August.
Great.
We'll have those road closures, but we'll notify the city and
Yeah.
everything about those.
just
We'll
make
give
sure
ample
we-
time.
we'll do a
Yeah, we
process
usually
announcement on that.
we'll provide 2 weeks notice of
Great.
when we're going to provide
Okay.
closures, so you can notify the residents around the site.
Well, as far as moving, I mean, we see movement, and that's good. You know,
Yes.
that's awesome. I know you guys are moving fast, the team. I know Juana's been mentioning to me that, the communication has been there. Now, it's very important that it continues because, I mean, you know how it is. Communication is a big part in everything. So I'm hoping that, we're on time as far as the completion. But I get it. Mother Nature and all that plays a big role as
Right.
well. So I want to thank you so much. I want to thank Oscar. Thank you so much, sir, for the good work that you guys are doing.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Congratulations, brother. Good job.
Thank you.
I like your shirt, man.
I was gonna say, applaud you on your shirt before, applaud you. James,
I got it a little dirty today. I was actually working, so.
All right.
Actually working.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And the next half, Mayor Commissioners, is the presentation, and pretty much what it is, it's already been approved, but it's on the FF&E, which is the furniture. But I wanted to bring over Mr. Villanueva over and just give you again another detailed overview as to what the furniture looks like, because we're in the time frame of maybe May 31st, no later than May 31st to order the furniture, otherwise the prices may go up. And also wanted to bring it up before you all, even though the money is already allocated and is approved, but yes.
A while back, I
Right,
remember.
but it's shy of $1 million, so I wanted to make sure that we're all transparent to the public, obviously, and
Correct.
make it here publicly.
Sure.
So,
As you said, Ben, the budget was approved a while back, and we are trying to avoid a huge price increase from the manufacturers of 14%. So we want to move quickly and get it done. 14%.
Well, May's around the corner anyways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're trying to order a little bit before May 31st, just to be safe.
Well, I'll ask if you can expedite that as soon as possible, Mr. Juana. Okay? Yeah, because that's the last thing we want for them to, that's a big increase, 14%.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Were we going to show the presentation? Were we going to review the presentation?
I mean, it's up to the commission whether they want to ask any questions as far as the furniture, but I think we already saw the furniture
Yeah.
on a previous meeting, so I just wanted to bring you guys over so that when we make the expenditures, it's transparent to the public, transparent to the elected officials, that it's close to $1 million that we're spending on furniture.
Okay. Perfect.
And so this furniture is basically what's in our packet, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing this a while back when we first approved this.
Yeah, it entails furniture, walls,
Correct.
accessories, plants.
And you don't have a slideshow or anything to show the community out there, right? Did you bring anything? No? That's okay. Not, that's okay. I guess maybe for the next meeting, can we do that?
We can do that.
You can
And
just,
what we'll do is, if you don't mind, we can place it on our social media as well, on our webpage, is what the city.
oh, yeah, if we
City
can do
Hall's
that
gonna
too,
look like.
yeah. So you
And we'll
guys
do
don't
that
have to
as a
come in.
part.
Okay.
If we can
The whole presentation
display
from the other
the
one.
type of furniture that's going inside
Yeah.
the city hall.
We'll do it.
Perfect.
Perfect. Any questions? Not, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. The next item is under presentation of departmental reports. Tonight, we have the Department of Planning and Zoning, Department of Parks and Recreation, Department of Sanitation, and San Juan Memorial Library. Before we start, Mayor Commissioner, I want to introduce formally our new sanitation or Director of Sanitation, Mr. Israel Garza. I know at the last meeting, he was elected to be the new director. So Mr. Garza is our newest employee, City of San Juan. Welcome, sir.
For Mr. Garza. And for the record, no relation
No relation, okay.
whatsoever. Before anybody say, yeah, Chief.
Nor Mr. Roel Garza, previous employee.
Yeah. All right. Any questions for the directors? Go ahead, sir. Yes, sir.
Fire Chief, I know we had a major structure fire here about 2 weeks ago, and I know multi-agencies participated. I want to commend all your firefighters that went out there, including yourself, because I saw you speeding by my house with the rear lights on. And I know I can actually stand and say that you do respond to every single major fire that we have, or any majors in the city, because you just live down the road, so I can see you speed by my house. But I know that the jurisdiction in that area is kind of awkward, right? Because the first 500 feet belongs to the city of San Juan, and the other belongs to FAR ETJ, along with, of course, Alamo helped, FAR, and some other agencies. McAllen? Oh, that's great. I know the city of San Juan structure, nothing happened to it, or I'm trying to understand here.
Call came from that facility, but actual building that burned was a good 50 feet separation, and that's where it part.
At that point, we actually engaged in mutual aid?
That's correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that that's what. Right.
And I will tell you that we have to their operations, continue their power.
Thank you, Chief.
Operations the next day for them was normal. We assisted. Correct, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I have a question for Mr. Garza. Now that you are the person in charge, Mr. Garza, what is it? No. Sanitation, Mr. Garza. I was going to call you Blackie, sorry. I know what is your plan as far as the brush pickup? Because I know I've been through several directors and which they were all good. Don't get me wrong. They were getting the job done as well. So I don't know what your plan is as far as, are you going to do something different, or are you going to follow what Mr. Roel Garza had before, or is there little minor changes that you're planning to do to keep up the city clean?
I came into the department that was already started. The budget was already not all there, but I came in, started evaluating. It's only been, 2 weeks that I've been.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Plans, and they're very good, because I've been attacking, I've been asking, I've been letting the guys kind of do what they're doing, their normal routines, which they do know. You got different attitudes that you need to work with. So one of my main goals was I started seeing where all the trash was coming from. And it's not that the city is so dirty, because we keep up with the trash. We're getting a lot of trash from outside the city, from FAR, Mission, Donna, Alamo. We busted a guy from Alamo Towing in Alamo, throwing trash. We went through his garbage, found some letters, attacked it. We took the procedures, took him to code enforcement. Code enforcement made contact. We made him pick up his trash and more that he inherited. So with that said, my plans is we're going to continue working the areas where We're working the quadrants that are assigned. The only thing is that we're short manpower, that's one. And two is that we still haven't had full equipment. We still got a grappler that is out, Angie, that is still out, and we're making means with what we got. But going through and back, we need to educate the public. So we pick up trash in an area, and I'm going to say south of Business 83 on the east side from our boundaries, and we can go and pick up all the brush. And by tomorrow morning, there's brush again. So we need to educate the public. So what we started doing, or I started implementing this morning, is where I saw was we had just picked up all of San Antonio, Nebraska, a couple of days ago. And 2 days later, it was worse than what it was the first time. So code enforcement went out there and started giving letters and stuff to the public. Some people pulled in their brush back into their property and are waiting for us to come back and pick it up. Others we picked up, but we're notified that next time we do that, they will be cited with whatever the citation is, or they have the options to go and take it and get it disposed themselves. Keep in mind that most of the brush is not coming from San Juan. It's coming from people that have a business and cutting down trees. And right now is a time that, April, February, January, February, March, they trim the trees down. So we're getting a lot of brush from other cities to our location. The city needs to come up, you guys need to come up with a plan as on weekends, how we're gonna charge for brush. Because I got a guy out there working 8 hours a day, and we don't charge. They bring in a receipt from the city of San Juan, we let them throw their brush or their whatever they have. Some of these people are carrying a lot of contractor stuff, shingles, wood materials, toilets, toilet seats, whatever models they do, and they're dumping in our location. But because they have that receipt and we can't charge because the city's closed, we need to come up with an idea. And Mr. Juan and I have talked. I'm going to talk to Pat, and we're going to see if we can get some kind of code on the receipt where they throw that one time, and we can also charge credit or debit with something that the city provides, so we don't handle any money. It just goes straight into city account. So those are plans that we have. I'm still working on hand in hand with Mr. Arjona, and plans are going very well. The weather planning, day-to-day operations, we're getting stuff cleaned up. We see a lot of tires. We've hit several areas that I noticed that there was too much trash. The following day was the same. We're coming up with tactics that's putting cameras. I talked to Chief Morin, I've talked to Pat. He has cameras. We're going to start monitoring more of these areas, and we need to hit the people hard where it hurts, because they're not going to stop throwing trash unless we start with our courts and our laws. That any citation, we have to punish, and that's where it's kind of hard. So.
Yes. We don't have a schedule yet. That's something that Mr. Garza and I were talking about, as a matter of fact, last week and this morning. So we're formulating a plan of action as to, for instance, he mentioned the QR coding. We're supposed to get together with Mr. Petcar and see how we can come up with an idea so that it's on their bills, so that maybe we can do whatever the brush pickup is, plus maybe 2 courtesy drop off at the side. And maybe in the third one, it'll be a small fee, the fourth one a little bit higher, or those that by the cubic area that they're disposing of brush, it'll be charged a certain amount of fee. And he's right, there's some materials that are shingles, toilets, or whatever that we really don't take and we don't charge, but because of the fact that it's a weekend, instead of throwing them on the side of the road, let's bring them over, let's throw them. But we're working on that so that we can establish some sort of a fee.
We don't even charge a brush pickup.
We
right?
don't charge that, Mayor.
I think we need to schedule that
And that's
ASAP,
what we're
that
formulating
workshop.
here, a plan of action so that we can bring in to you guys and formulate a plan of action for, some sort of a fee schedule, if any, even for the brush. But I'm assuming that, and we believe that if somebody's disposing of brush, there should be a fee associated with that. Plan, yes. And we'll work on some of those fees. between now and then, so that hopefully by then we have a set date that maybe we can work on a workshop.
It was also brought to my attention, Angie here is one of the secretaries. She's pretty much on top of everything. And usually when the lady up front goes to lunch, they take over people coming in, throwing a brush. And it caught to her attention, so she called me and says, hey, this truck's been here twice today. So we asked the guy, where's this brush coming from? He says, oh, I think he gave me 806 8th Street, San Juan, Texas. I said, okay, hold off, because he had big trailer full of big brush. So I said, hold off, let me send somebody out there. So we sent somebody out. He took off, and he was pretty mad, but he took off. He had a water bill, but we went to the address he gave me, and that address doesn't exist. It's very nice and clean. There's no trees. It's just a normal, typical house, front or back. And he said that they were cutting trees from front and back. So that means that truck was coming from somewhere else with somebody else's water bill. So I decided now when we get something, if the trailer gets there, we're gonna spray paint those big logs that they bring in with a color, either red or blue, whatever color we come up with. We're gonna get the license plate. Then we're gonna say, okay, it's gonna cost you $75 or whatever dollars you need to go pay in City Hall before you dump. If he gets mad and leaves and dumps somewhere, we know where that brush came from because of the color code. So we're gonna have license plates already before we even charge. So we can take the proper procedure, take it to PD and charge them up with littering.
And I know we want to get into a chief so we can instruct and actually promote, train our officers that late at night, when you see a truck full of brush, obviously nothing's open. We have to actually do those check traffic stops, Obviously that truck, make sure it come out of our city or make sure where it's not getting dumped in our city. That's something that you guys can actually work out. Yes, sir.
Guys, so how about the trucks, the potholes and stuff like that, the streets? That we're starting to.
I have something here, if you all care to just to share. Angie prepared something for me. It was supposed to be a presentation. I just come into the department, so I wasn't too aware about how it worked. But we did the copies for you guys, the cost factor, like what I paid, the materials and the time and the men it took. We have it's called a patch truck that carries hot mix and it carries oil, hot oil. It has a place where you actually turn the boiler on and it's boiling hot oil. Well, this truck has been laying, I think, for over a year there in the open air, because I don't even have anywhere to store all this new equipment that we're getting. So it's brand new. It's never been used. It had never been used. So I had a guy, the first day or second day on the job, I had a guy complain to me that he's talked to everybody. And according to what I got, he's a normal guy that calls all the time. So I calmed him down and I said, let me go meet with you. I did. I went to go meet with him. He expressed all his concerns on that particular road, which is Eldora Road, right as soon as you turn off of Raul Longoria. And it's just a little piece there. He says, hey, man, my vehicles and everybody's vehicles, school buses. And I said, by tomorrow morning, it'll be taken care of. So I kind of got back that afternoon and said, the guys, hey, we're going to do this. And they all looked at each other and, like it was like, okay, we're going to do it tomorrow morning. So at 5:30 in the morning, I show up to work and the guys start showing up. I said, get the truck ready, go get me hot mix, go get me the asphalt, go get the oils, get everything started, take the cutter, get the roller, get the trailer, get the backhoe. We took 5 guys out there. We started cutting and one guy says, we never done this before. And I said, what do you mean you never done this before? And he says, we don't do this. We just throw hot mix and the asphalt, and then we roll it or we pound it with a jack. It's called the jacker. So I said, no, we're going to use a double roller. So, and we're going to cut, we're going to clean it, we're going to brush it, and we're going to do it my way, and you'll see it's not going to happen again for a year or two. It's not going to happen. So we did that, and I wanted a PowerPoint. I had Patrick's guys go out there and they took, some pictures of some stuff, but I actually want to put in PowerPoint presentation so I can explain to you. So if you see the pictures, you see where we measured, we cut, we went all the way to the caliche. If it needs caliche, we repack it. We use the roller or we use it's called the jacker. We vibrate it, pound it back with water, and then we let it dry a little bit. Put the hot oil, put the hot mix in there, and we roll it and we let it cool off for 3 to 4 hours, and then we open up traffic. We don't have to use that small roller. We can use a bigger one, but that bigger one, we don't have a truck to pull it. So we're waiting for a truck, and it won't get here until June, maybe July. So we have a brand new trailer, flatbed load boy, with all the nice equipment, ready to go help the highway department build the expressway, but with no truck to pull our equipment. So we do have an asphalt machine. We have a zipper, a ripper. It's called a ripper. We can rip the whole street, take out all that asphalt, and then we have a machine that is the asphalt machine. Hook it up to the dump trucks that we just bought, which fits like 8, 9 tons of hot mix, and start rolling and resurface our streets. So we do have the capabilities. The thing is where we're going to find the funds to do that, because hot mix is pretty expensive.
Any other questions?
The cost figures there of how much more or less, and then, well, that's actually what we spend, am I correct, Angie? On the hot mix, the one and a half ton, $104, and then, let me see. The 5-man crew, then of course the blades of the saw that we use one blade. It's about $45 more or less. And the total cost this year, what we actually paid for the whole material. And we didn't waste any material, we didn't spill any material, because afterwards, we just kept filling up all the potholes that were left so we can finish the product.
Appreciate the information. You mentioned, the last question I have is that, what schools buy there? I'm trying to.
School there, I believe, is Leonel Trevino. Sergeant
Yeah,
Leonel
yeah.
Trevino.
So maybe, I don't know if you want to, because I mean, obviously everything's costly, right? So maybe get with the school district and see whether they can we can work out a deal, or they can help us out as far as.
Kind of guided me to, he says, well, the citizen Juan is yours. So, yeah, and it all started with a school light that somebody knocked down, and that same guy called me, hey, that light's been on for a while.
Okay.
We usually handle.
So what you're saying, that's out of the picture?
It's out of the picture.
Okay, thank you.
Any reach out. I'll reach out to the, yeah. We'll reach out to them.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Mr. Juan.
The next item on the public hearing ordinances, tonight we have a hold a public hearing, consider an ordinance for rezoning request from General Business District C2 to Multifamily Resident District R, multifamily of the property legally described as M&L Wood Company, tract number 6, north 176.8, lot 54, is requested by Juan Muñiz. Mr. Tijerina.
Thank you, Mayor and City Commission. This is a rezoning request, as Mr. Arjona just read. From the current zoning is C2, and the request is to go to multifamily. The location of the property is at the southeast corner of First Street and Veterans Boulevard, just behind EDC and near the One Housing Authority. So we sent out notices to property owners within a 200-foot radius. We did not receive any comments in favor or against the request. Our recommendation is for approval due to the fact that the property that the owner, Mr. Muniz, has, half of it is towards the rear, is already zoned multifamily. So he wants to rezone the front portion, which is the 1.14 acre tract of land to multifamily to construct some apartments. Did go before the Planning and Zoning Commission on the 7th of this month, and the commission, the Planning Commission made a recommendation to deny the rezoning request. This is a public hearing. This matter is now before you. The applicant is here also.
Let me open it up before we Comments in reference to this item. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and open this up at 7:00 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Okay. Any questions? Oh,
Come on up.
who's? Good evening, sir.
I'm the listing broker agent, Nacho Pacina III. That's Mr. Muniz. He's the purchaser of the property. I'm here on behalf of Miss Raquel Cantu, which is the owner. What he's handing out there, Mr. Muniz, is kind of what his versions, and the last page is what the site plan would look like. We know that just north of here on the far side, there is predated 1980 units that don't have kind of similar to this, but obviously dated back to a different style, layout. I think Mr. Muniz does, I know the city planning and zoning kind of went the other way and we want to keep consistency along veterans. I think our opinion and also the opinion of the engineer is, I think a concern of the cities would be the traffic. You know, if, I know right up in that area, there's a couple of event centers per se. So if he was allowed to build a commercial building, multifamily in the back, our opinion is that it would create some traffic operations issues in the future, you know, depending on what kind of businesses are allowed to go there. I mean, again, I know everything has to go through permits. Again, he would like for, Mr. Muniz would like for the whole property to be rezoned multifamily, keep it, I think, still consistent with veterans. I think that there's already a surplus of commercial spots along veterans. So I think, you know, for him, an economic standpoint, doing another commercial pad side in the front, instead of maybe moving that detention pond for him for the apartments up to the front, maybe making a nice entrance off of veterans, maybe making the entrance a little deeper in, that would allow the project to flow, you know, flow a little bit more smoothly if it was just all multifamily. Mr. Muniz?
Good evening. My name is Emiliano Zapata. I was retained by Mr. Muniz for the finance side of the project. Across America, there is a lack of affordable, still quality housing. The city of San Juan is not exempt to that. So we are fully invested in the city. We have projects in Carroll Estates and Royal Ridge subdivisions here in San Juan. One of my major concerns is if the city requires to have a commercial, since the rates are going up, Wall Street already pull off for commercial projects, and we might have this path empty for quite a bit before somebody can come if he decides to build his own or a commercial property. So since we can build affordable housing, still quality housing in the city, so I would recommend or suggest to Mr. Muniz to go and request a full multifamily rather than commercial and multifamily, because on the multifamily side, there is still a lot of capital that can be deployed, so we can take advantage of the rates before going up and take full blown of the multifamily. That will make more sense on the finance side. Understand the issues that might not have the commercial in the front on traffic wise, but I'm not taking into consideration that. So what I'm looking into is a full feasibility project on the finance side, on the multifamily, because of the lack of the housing, affordable housing that every city has right now. And this is an opportunity for him to develop a nice project and quality and affordable.
It says, I guess, it says here that the staff of rezoning, you mentioned right now that they denied it. Do you have any?
Staff's recommending approval,
Staff.
Commissioner, and the Planning and Zoning Commission
Denied.
recommended denial.
Okay. Do you know the reasons or some of the concerns?
The concerns that they had are basically what they called spot zoning, but in essence, in looking up and down the corridor and looking at the future land use map also, which can be amended, like whenever, if the city commission approves the rezoning, we'll amend the future land use map to be consistent with the zoning. So our recommendation is that, and the planning commission recommended denial. So
There is on Mesquite and I Road.
yes, sir.
Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
There's a multi.
Yes,
Am I
sir.
correct? And I know that was done back then as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned, sir, affordable homes. Are you? Can you elaborate elaborate a little bit on that? Is this like where they can apply through Section 8, or is
No,
this
no,
gonna,
no, no,
is this
no.
gonna be an elderly?
No, it's gonna be it's gonna be open to the public. So what I mean by affordable is keeping quality on a good standards and affordable by construction, so they can put in the market affordable housing. Because since the rates are going up
Correct.
right now, so what we're seeing in the market, because we have, I mean, a lot of investments through the city, so houses are gonna take a little bit longer because the families are gonna start pulling back because the prices on the mortgage payments are gonna go up. So where the people is gonna start living? So if we keep a quality product and it's still affordable, so we can accommodate the demand that is out there. So with multifamily.
The reason why I ask is people interpret affordable homes in different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
So
What I'm saying
you pretty
is that-
much explained to me
Yeah,
what
so
you, what.
it's gonna be market rates, it's open to the market. What I mean, it's affordable is people can, no Section 8, no, I mean, not that kind of a financing. It's gonna be a standard financing through the banks or conventional. Yeah.
And just for the record, nothing against Section 8 or anything like that.
No,
It's
they are
just-
good
It's just a peace
programs.
of mind, just,
Yeah, they are good progress, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But there is not a project that Mr. Muniz keeps in his portfolio. So it's not that kind of a
yeah.
finance.
And like I say, I mean, when I speak to someone in reference
Yeah.
to affordable homes, they interpret it different, so.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. And I'm
Yeah,
glad you
so-
asked the question. It's gonna be market rate, still affordable for the prices for the.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. And they're gonna look like this?
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, materials are going up, I mean, pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm Juan Muñiz. I'm the builder, the owner. We're gonna be pretty open to Mr. Tejerina with the planning, zoning, whatever the requirements. I mean, if they're, whatever they're asking for us to do, we're open to do it. We're just trying to get the chance to do it. Instead of the 80% multifamily, we're trying to go 100%, like the way it is in the site plan.
All right, any
And this is gonna be like facing, like if it would happen.
It's gonna be facing south, right? The
They're gonna
front, the front part.
They're gonna be facing south, yes.
Like the entrance will be facing south, am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes, sir.
South, so we're gonna have a side.
Yes.
Well, you'll see it
Well,
if you're
yeah,
coming
well,
up
they're gonna be facing
north.
south and then, I'm sorry, like.
So in other words, this is gonna be facing west, where it's gonna look pretty for the public, right? It's gonna be kind of hidden like that.
But we're gonna have all on the west side.
You're gonna have units there.
And there can be concern for the other, because if there is a concern how the building is gonna be facing the street, absolutely, we can work on that one, yeah. So,
Now, as far as the entrance, how are you what's the proposed, construction on the entrance? Like what I'm trying to say is, are you just gonna have a wall, or are you gonna have a nice wall going into the location?
No, we're gonna try to have a nice wall. I mean, of course, the name of our proposal is Twin Village.
Okay.
Of course, lighting, landscaping,
Got it.
so, yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, guys? Leonard? All righty, I'm gonna.
Mr. Owner, you got what Mr.
What's your-
Tejeda on?
Yeah, no, we met on this particular item, and like Mr. Tejeda mentioned, that the claim was a spot zoning, but like you mentioned, Mayor, there's others already there.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So we don't
saying.
consider that a spot zone.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and close this at 7:09 PM. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, hold a public hearing, consider an ordinance for a conditional use permit to allow a portable food concession stand, La Antojeria, located 916 East Business 83, legally described as Lot 2, Mireles subdivision, as requested by Silvia Gonzalez. Mr. Tejerina.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This, of course, pretty self-explanatory. It's a request for a portable food concession stand at 916 East Business Highway 83. Applicant is proposing to use the restroom facilities at the store. They have gotten permission to do so. The hours and days of operation are in the write-up for your information. And we did mail 51 notices to property owners within a 200-foot radius of the property, and we did not receive any comments in favor or against this request. Staff recommends approval subject to compliance with the list of requirements attached on page 79, which is page 2 of the report. We did have a public hearing before the Planning Commission on April 7th, and the Planning Commission, we had no, they approved it 6-0. So this is a public hearing. This matter is now before you, Mayor.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and open this at 7:10 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions, members of the commission?
I just have a question. We have that on there. One of the stuff, I know it's an ordinance about making sure that it's paved, and this is paved like street paved, right? Not caliche, not.
That's
Okay.
correct. Yes,
I want to
ma'am.
make sure that we're going in there with all these new businesses coming in and that is being enforced. That we do have the payment of any new business coming in, because I know it is a city ordinance, so just wanted to clarify.
Yes,
that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Not, I'll close this at 7:11 PM. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, next item on their appointments, we have considered the nomination and appointment of board members to the Civil Service Board. Ms. Brenda?
Good evening, Mayor. Before you is next item is consider the nomination appointment of board members for the Civil Service Board. At this moment, Mr. Juan Jose Vasquez has been, his term has expired on March 10th. And he's, before you can find the attendance. And you will find the application for Mr. Juan Jose, or the only application that was provided.
He was the only one, right, that applied? Reapplied. Civil Service, Ms. Cordero, any issues with, I know I saw the attendance, but I know I had gotten a couple last week about quorum. Are we making quorum? Are we not making quorum? Okay. For them to make it. That's what I was about to ask. Can we do Zoom in the event that they're not able to show up in person? Uh-huh. Right.
We've done that and also offered Zoom, so. Right, and a lot of times the Zoom. Yes. Accommodating to the board. Yes, and like I mentioned, we did offer it this last time because it's been back and forth. So, and we understand, but.
Or maybe change the time also. No? Yeah.
Just so you'll know, just on the Zoom, as long as there's 2 people present, one can be on Zoom.
So this is just for Mr. Vasquez only?
Yes.
All right. Said, is there a motion approved? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Next item.
To clarify, that's to reappoint Mr. Vasquez?
Reappoint, yes.
The next item is nomination and appointment of board members related to the library advisory board. Ms. Brenda.
At this moment, for the library board, there's 6 members that have a term expired. And before you, you'll find the attendance for the library board meetings, along with the applications received for the advisory board.
So they had a full meeting. When was the last full meeting? They had one in February? And before that was November? Is that what I'm looking at?
January, there was no meeting. January, there was no
January,
meeting.
no meeting
No.
at all. It's the same thing for, make sure, like, I know there's gonna be issues with work, family emergencies, things like that, but we're gonna be on a board, we need to stay committed as much as possible. And I'm seeing a lot of absences, no meeting due to lack of quorum. So I know there's gonna be situations where that's gonna happen, but we can't have that frequently happening across the board anywhere. So just wanted to make that note.
Did we advertise
Yes.
online,
Yes,
on social
for-
media and all that?
Yeah, it's been open for 4 weeks now.
4 weeks? Okay, so, I mean, if that's your concern, what do you want to do? I mean, do we open it up again and bring it back, or?
Everybody reapplied, correct?
Can we do so with, and have Mrs. as well?
Yeah, let's see if we
Maintain,
can
and
improve.
If it fails again, we'll come back.
Yeah.
So what's, if it fails again, are we talking about 2 meetings, 1 meeting, 3 meetings?
I guess once they have a meeting and everybody's present and you
So you want to
Set
reappoint everyone?
Mayor, I would say let's do for the next fiscal year, which would be September. And that would be like that in case anything, we can start off on the fiscal year in October. In case we need to readjust if the absence, or maybe they can't make it for whatever reason, so it's
5 months? That's 5 months. That's a lot of downtime if they don't meet.
well, unless we,
I'm just saying, I mean, if that's what you all want, that's fine. So right now, we'll reappoint them, and then we'll bring it back in 3 months.
put her input
unless
also.
we can do this, Mayor, is just keep us as for the next month like that, like we can, as I see here. We can ask her what her recommendations also, since she's dealing directly with the individuals, maybe there's something different, or unless you all think otherwise.
When do they meet? Do you know, Brenda? What times? What times do they meet, ma'am?
I haven't got to a meeting yet.
Huh? Wednesdays at
I
6?
got to the first one yet.
Okay. They don't, okay.
All the ones that are yellow, those are the ones that on page 99, those are the ones that their term expired. And it looks like they all have an application, all the ones in yellow have an application to reapply. There, I did see one for a Laura Fonseca. She's the first application, but I don't see her name. Is her name on the list here? So is she new?
Yes, she's new.
So there's one application commission that is a new person, which is Miss Laura Fonseca. So, just so you know.
Appoint them and then bring it back. With that, I'll make a motion to reappoint the Library Advisory Board. That's a motion. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Next item, consider the nomination, appointment of board members related to the Planning and Zoning Board. Escalante.
The Planning and Zoning Board consists of 7 members serving a 2-year staggered term. As per the Planning and Zoning bylaws, if absent more than 3 consecutive times, individuals shall be automatically dropped from membership. The current members are Mr. Eduardo Alanis, Cesar Cantu, Adan Magayan, Valerie Cardenas, Irma Castillo, Eliza Aguirre, and Victor Perez Jr. At this moment, Ms. Castillo, Mr. Alanis, Ms. Izaguirre, Mr. Magayan, Ms. Cardenas, and Mr. Perez are, their term has expired. Correct. With the exception of Mr. Victor Perez. We didn't receive an application or he didn't answer our call. From him.
Well, I think, I mean, just based on the agendas that we've been receiving from planning and zoning and then working with Mr. Tejerina over there, I think they've been doing a good job. As far as their, recommendations and what can you say about that, Mr. Tejerina? Excuse me, what was that again? Good, good. No issues, anything like that? Yeah. I mean, we can tell with the agenda packets, how active and the decisions they make. I know sometimes, it works. We go another route sometimes, but at the same time, I appreciate everyone who's on any board in the city, volunteering their time. But I think, in my opinion, I guess I'd just go ahead and make a motion to reappoint everyone on this P and Z board. With that being said, that's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item, Mayor Commissioners, is consider the nomination appointment of board members to the Economic Development Corporation. Ms. Escalante.
Economic Development Corporation has a board of directors which consists of 7 directors who are appointed for a 2-year term of office. 3 directors shall be persons who are employees of the governing body of the eligible city. As per Section 4BC of the Act of 1979, 4B law requires the appointed members to be residents of the eligible city in which the board shall create and shall serve. At this moment, we had a board member who submitted his letter of resignation, Mr. Israel Perez. And also we have 6 members that have a term that has expired. You'll find the list of the board members and when their term expired.
My understanding as to the bylaws, the way that they were written, my understanding, it's 3. However, it's some may interpret it differently, but my understanding as to the way I understand that is only 3.
How long ago, Mr.? It's been a while, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was 18. Because if it was 4, I'd be there, right? Or if I chose to be there. But that's why you have you two and Neto there. Coach, okay. And this is to replace Mr. Garza, that's
Yes,
right.
for one, to replace Mr. Garza and to reappoint or appoint a new member for the expired term.
Said I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to reappoint the board members and appoint R.C. Flores for Israel Garza. That's a motion, yes. It's been second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item is discussion and possible action on all of the following matters. We have discussion possible action toward the RFP 22-006-03-24 for the annual polymer supply to the lowest, most responsible bidder in the amount of $1.64 per pound for a total of $45,264 a year, and authorize city manager to execute all related documents and budget amendment as needed. Mr. Salinas.
Good evening, Mayor Commissioners. On March 24th, 2020, we opened up bids for the advertisement. We did advertise for 2 weeks previously before the opening. We did receive 2 bids, one from Ultichem out of Shreveport, Louisiana. The other one, there's a typo on Polydyne from Riceboro, Georgia. We did review the bids. They all met the specs, including all deposits, all freight, all demurrage and rental fees for the containers, all included in the cost. So the city's not responsible for anything. And there is a clause in there that we can negotiate if there's a price increase for something that is out of the control of the vendor, and which we see right now with all our chemical providers. Sourcing the materials becoming an issue to make the chemicals. So that is a caveat in the bid. that we will negotiate that. So right now, the lowest bidder was Ultra Chem out of Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana. We are recommending that we award that bid. And the reason we did go out for bid this year is last year we exceeded the threshold of $50,000. As you can see, the bid is coming in at $45,264 for the year. So we're hoping we can keep it in that range. So I am recommending that we award to Ultra Chem.
Ultra Chem, right?
Yes, Ultra Chem.
Any questions, Mr. Salinas? With that being said, we're gonna go, make a motion to go with Mr. Salinas' recommendation.
Second.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next item, consider an approval of the interlocal agreement between the City of San Juan and the FAR San Juan Alamo Independent School District for access to the Texas Law Enforcement Telecommunications System and the Dispatch Center. Chief?
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners, and City Manager, and City Attorney. This MOU that we've had, we brought it up before this commission, but there had to be some changes, so we finally received the final MOU, been approved by our City Attorney, and this is an MOU that's going to benefit the city and the school district. It's a reference to us be able to house our PSJ school district police department's dispatchers. It's beneficial in so many ways because we'll have extra personnel there, and to include that we'll have real-time information in case of a critical incident, major incident, or a mass shooting that involves the school. We'll have real-time information because we will be having them in our facility, and so it's beneficial all around for the city and the school district.
This is for dispatch, right?
That is correct, sir.
Now, as far as, is it only for school hours, Chief, or?
No, they are having a 24/7 coverage. So they will have, according to my understanding, is a dispatcher every 8 hours. Their shift is 8 hours, so they will have.
Summertime, every
Well,
360?
excluding their schedule, that's the only time that they will not be part because they do work on a different schedule as far as the school. I believe they have almost the same as school teachers, his staff. And so at that point, there will not be coverage, but that's not a problem because it's been ongoing for us. So anytime there's a call, we've always been responding either way. So this is just something that will continue going and we'll be able to handle that type of traffic.
So who attends the calls if something were to happen on school grounds? You guys, Chief?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. On call, you said? Okay.
We have security guards that will make operations throughout the site. So if we get an alarm call that comes in, we bring it up on the cameras, with those security guards facing somebody on there, or on call.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
That's correct. We've been, normally we'll respond because by the time their officer does arrive at the scene, we can eliminate whatever issues there is an actual burglary in progress. We'll have our officers. We've been doing this on and on through the past year. And once our staff gets there, they take over the call. They do the follow-ups and so forth. We do not take over their calls. We're just there to assist. Correct, absolutely.
About responding then.
Exactly. It's about responding, and then after the matter, once we determine what they have is basically they take over.
Any other questions for Chief? If not, is there a motion to? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Chief, thank you.
On the resolution, Mayor, we have considered resolution authorizing City of San Juan to submit and accept an application for funding to the Office of the Governor, First Responder Mental Health Program for the City of San Juan. Chief?
Sir, this is a resolution. It fell through this year. It looks like we probably will get awarded. There is a matching fund to this, but it's only a $200
matching. And we're looking at, I believe the award is looking to be about 50,000. This is the same, it's in reference to mental health, which will provide our staff to be able to be trained and help our officers to cope with any critical incidents, any issues that they're having with any mental problems. And so we'll have them in-house. That's also a courtesy that will be extended to the fire department because we'll have staff that will be available before we can get, this is very critical, by the way. Let me add something to this, is because as you all know, there was a state legislation that passed in reference to that we need to provide them some time to cope with critical incidents. And sometimes it's very hard to get that assistance right away. And so this will help us. Hopefully we'll be able to get our officers trained and individuals to be able to provide that mental health support until we can get them officially, if they are seeking for mental health assistance. And so it's basically to get in a step ahead of that issue.
So this is training for your officers. It's not a mental health unit.
No, sir. This is training for our own folks, and they will get trained so they can deal. And they created like a peer pressure or a peer group that will be able to be trained and detect any issues. Sometimes, as we all know, law enforcement, we don't talk about our issues, but our actions, our interactions with other folks tends to give signals. And that's when the officers, the trained staff will be able to detect and kind of realize, hey, we need to pay attention to this officer. We need to get him some help. And so that all comes into place with this.
Questions for Chief? Not, is there a motion to approve?
Just for the record, Mayor, the only change is on the resolution because of the fact that it's not listed. Just it'll say the City Commission agrees to provide the applicable matching fund of $200 and the matching and the fund is for 50,000. Yeah.
Do we have to redo the motion?
Oh, just make a note.
Matching is 200?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
The next item and on the next three, the matching grants, there's no matching on it. It's a full grant, so just so you know. But it's not listed on the resolution, so just so you know. So the next one is consider resolution authorizing the City of San Juan to submit and accept an application for funding to the Office of the Governor Criminal Justice Program for the City of San Juan.
This is to provide for us to be able to purchase equipment for such as body cams, bulletproof vests, and so forth. So that's what this is. Actually, in this one particular, I believe it's to purchase additional radios for our staff.
Any questions? Not, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Next item, consider resolution authorizing the City of San Juan to submit and accept an application for funding to the Office of the Governor SHSP LAPTA projects for the City of San Juan. Chief?
Again, this is also another grant that will assist us in purchasing other equipment that will be able to be utilized for investigation for the alert team. And it's hopefully be able to be awarded to where we believe this is a grant that should allow us to purchase drones for our alert and be able to utilize for operations.
Questions?
Yes, sir. They did have before my time. Those are obsolete. They're inoperable at this time. So we're trying to update our equipment in reference to drones.
The drone where an actual officer can sit in it and fly it. It's a drone. Yeah. Have you seen that before?
No, I've seen a private one, but I did not see the one where an officer was.
Yeah, it's a drone, but an oversized drone where one individual can get in it and fly it.
Is that true, Mr. Carr?
I have seen it. I just not seen an officer in there.
Chief Harvey from FAR PD.
Is that right?
And that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, hey,
I said, well, good luck.
there you go. I'm assuming that they're probably gonna
I
have to
just
get.
thought maybe you've seen something like that.
I'm pretty sure I've seen the civilian part of it. I've not seen it used in law enforcement, but I'm pretty sure they're probably end up getting a pilot. They're probably gonna need a pilot
Of
license.
course, yeah, okay, all right.
Yep.
With that being said, is there a motion to approve? I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item, consider a resolution authorizing the city of San Juan to submit and accept an application for funding to the Office of the Governor, Operations Stone Garden for the city of San Juan.
Grant, again, it's just to further our Operation Stone Garden and facilitate our ongoing with human trafficking and human smuggling efforts.
That being said, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Last item is consider resolution authorizing the city of San Juan to submit and accept an application for the funding to the Office of the Governor Local Border Security Program for the city of San Juan.
This, again, is similar to the Stone Garden, but this is the border security, and it's also for further enhancement of patrol and criminal interdiction.
That being said, any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's not a question, it's kind of just make sure some things are clear with both grants, because I know there's, we have to do some work on these. Obviously, not me. And just to clarify, the context is not the quota, it's just what the government actually asks us to do, right?
That's a good question.
The context consists of, so we can clarify that.
That's absolutely, I appreciate that.
It's not, it's making even.
You're right. It's not about issuing a citation or a warning. It's actually about a contact, doing a traffic stop, doing enforcement. It's up to the officer to decide whether it's warranted for a citation or a warning. That's solely up their decision. But this is regulated by this programs, and it's not mandated by the police department. It is mandated by the actual programs grants. And so, absolutely, I'm glad you clarified that, Mayor Pro Tem. It is in reference to the contacts. Contacts are different between citations and warnings. Contacts is the actual one.
Traffic stop, it's not just a warning, it's actually making contact, even a backup and assistance of an officer. And it consists of many things of what a contact really consists of.
Exactly.
And it's geared to one item, one area of the job, because it consists of many things.
Absolutely, that's correct. It's flexible, and so we're able to do all that in this program.
I just want to clarify that, because I think there's some miscommunication.
Yeah, misconceptions.
And just the fact that is you can back up, even if you get back a constable or a trooper, that is a contact.
That is correct.
Right.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting has been adjourned at 7:38 PM. Thank you.